Robyn Flynn filling in for Elias Makos today with you until 12 p.m. The CJAD is testing out a new, quote, radar on steroids, one that would not only calculate speed, but also track distance, as in the distance between one car and the car in front of it. This is all in a bid to crack down on tailgaters. Apparently, according to their report, almost 10% of all accidents are caused by following a car too closely. Now, would you be happy to see more technology for handing out tickets? And if we could create some sort of new radar on steroids, what other bad behavior could it be designed to catch? Joining us now is André Durocher, Director of Community Relations and Road Safety for CAA-Québec. Good afternoon, or good morning, rather, Mr. Durocher.
Yeah, good morning.
So I love when I see something called radar on steroids. I think a lot of people are already not fans of photo radar when it comes to speeding. We've also got radar cameras for red lights as well.
Yeah.
So why not for tailgating? How would something like this even work? How would it be able to calculate the distance? Like, this is fascinating to me.
Actually, when you come to think of it, it's just applying technology to a problem, because it works with GPS and laser technology that already exists. So basically what it does is it will measure the speed and the distance between two vehicles. You mentioned before that some people were not fans of photo radar. When it comes to following too close, you have two types of people: those who want to follow too close and those who hate being followed too close. And when you know that this is 10% of the collisions on the highways in the province of Quebec are caused by people who were following too close. Following too close, there's two types of what I call tailgaters. There are those for whom the person in front of them will never go fast enough. These people feel like the road belongs to them and they should always be first. And then there's the other type of people who maybe do not necessarily realize that when you drive, you have to look wide and far and not at the front of the hood of your car. And they just tailgate no matter what, and they don't realize the dangers by doing so, because you need a reasonable distance. When you see an object in front of you that stops, okay, you see it, it goes into your brain tells your foot to hit the brake pedal. Well, there's a certain minimal amount of time for doing that. And this is why I think it's welcome technology, as long as it's applied, of course, with judgment. And I can already hear some people saying, okay, but what if I do leave a reasonable distance and somebody cuts in front of me? What will happen?
Yeah.
Well, the officers right now are being trained to do these types of things. Like, in other words, it will take into consideration the acceleration and deceleration of both vehicles, the one in front and the one in the back. And also the intention of this is to apply it, I would say, with judgment and with common sense. And the fact of talking about it like that also is going to make people aware of it, that following too close is indeed a danger on the road.
Absolutely. I've got a couple people texting in here, Andre, saying, if people stop doing 70 in the left lane, there would be less tailgating. And, while technically, yes, 70 is the speed limit, that is something that I see so often. You're on a 2-3 lane highway and there's somebody doing 60, 70 in the left lane. There needs to be an awareness campaign that move to the right, slower traffic, keep right. There are signs when you're driving in Ontario on the 401, there are signs everywhere reminding you slower traffic, keep right. How come we don't have stuff like that here in Quebec?
That's what I wonder about, because you mentioned something about the left lane. Very few people know about it, but the left lane should be used only for passing. And we've all seen, like, for example, in Quebec, the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour, so basically 60 miles an hour. And some people are going in the left lane at 40, 50 miles an hour. And I've even seen situations where you see somebody in the left lane going 45, 50 miles an hour, somebody passing them on the right. So passing by the right is illegal. And then you see the person in the left lane, meaning if you're not happy, just pass. They have no idea that they are the ones that are illegal. You're not allowed to use that left lane. But again, just like people who follow too close, some people believe that the left lane is their property, and that's it. It's nice. There's nobody in the lane, so it's mine. And it's sad, and we should do more education concerning that. A good example I could tell you, I don't know how old you are, and I don't like to get into that thing with women, but let's say I got my driver's license over, almost 50 years ago. And of course, forget the police training I had. But I've never had any update to validate, am I aware of the laws going on? Am I aware of this and that? And also, we have to keep in mind, in the province of Quebec, for several years, the driving lessons were not mandatory. So there are people who do it because they're simply arrogant, but there are people who do it simply because they ignore the law. There's been no update. I always say if you and I were computers, maybe we'd be like in DOS mode or Windows 95 because there's been no update.
Yeah, it's so true. It's interesting you bring that up because when I got my license a little over 20 years ago when I was a teenager, it wasn't mandatory to do the classes at the time. I just borrowed a book to study for the written exam, and then my dad taught me how to drive, and I passed my test and had my license. I've never taken an actual class on driving. I think I'm a pretty good driver, but obviously I never took a class. But like, I remember a friend of mine when I was a kid, her grandmother was telling me she didn't even do her own driving test. She said she was busy that day, so her brother went and did it for her and then got her license for her. So she never even passed the test herself and was driving, a licensed driver in the province of Quebec. So yeah, I wonder what would be a reasonable interval to make people, do a test again. I know we've talked about this in the past with seniors, making them do their test again every few years. Is this something we should be doing with people of all ages?
Well, I have, sometimes I like, we don't want to complicate matters too much, but, there's several alternatives that could be out there. For example, when you receive the renewal for your driver's license, I don't know, maybe you could just have little information about the updates that took place regarding the Highway Safety Code. Because like I said, I got my driver's license back in 1978. There's been dozens and dozens of changes to the Highway Safety Code since then. So maybe just to measure what it is, insurance companies out there. What if you make, for example, have certain discounts for people who do have an update? There's a lot of varieties. Say if you maybe, I don't know, have something like, maybe have a little discount on your driver's license if you do the following quiz. Not mandatory, but as we know, human beings being what they are, there's a little monetary incentive that would be tempting. And this way we could be sure that people would be more up to date with regards to their driving skills and the laws.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. André Durocher, Director of Community Relations and Road Safety for CAA-Québec. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Season's greetings to all the CJAD listeners.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.